I am not going to knock this restaurant for being really, really busy.
And it was very nice. And it was very boozy.
I think some people would call that a regular size martini.
Oh my God, this thing is incredible.
You have to order it.
Smash burgers are over.
You are going to be jealous.
And that is intended shade to James Bond.
This is perfect highbrow, lowbrow.
This is a great dessert if you're on your period.
This is a panty dropper dessert.
I know you love those summer melons.
Welcome to Aftertaste LA, a restaurant podcast from a professional chef
and a Hollywood writer,
bringing you honest reviews of LA restaurants every other week. I'm Vlad.
And I'm Nicole.
And this week, we're going to be talking about our meal at Hermon's.
Oh man, so I think this was definitely my most anticipated meal maybe that we've done yet. I mean, River was up there, but man, everything I have been seeing about Hermon's since it opened in December, I've just been craving it. Craving the food, craving the ambiance. And this is another property, another restaurant from Last Word Hospitality Group, Found Oyster, Razaruma, Queen's Raw Bar. So many wonderful restaurants that we've really enjoyed that, like, all these things together, I was just like vibrating, wanting to go.
Yeah, I'm always intrigued by a place where it's opened and it's already one of the hardest tables to get in LA. In the research for this episode, I found out that Hermon's, I thought it was in Highland Park. It's in Hermon. Never heard of that before. It's a tiny little town. And it's the first restaurant they've ever had. And Last Word Hospitality, I don't know how they did it, but they convinced them to be the first restaurant here. They had to name the restaurant after the town as part of the deal.
Nice.
So, out of all the restaurant groups that I would want to open the first restaurant in a town, Last Word, they're heavy hitters. They know what they're doing. They know how to open up a place. Everything I saw about it, the Instagram, the vibe of the menu, the photos of the place looked so us and so me and so inviting. And I wanted to order everything on the menu. We could not do that. And we barely crawled out of there when it was all over.
Yeah.
I felt full after this meal.
I felt normal full, but I really strategized and I really held myself back from eating as much as I wanted to because I wanted to enjoy every single dish fully and not have that feeling, when you get like too full, but you're only like halfway through the meal. So you're like, all right, I'm just gonna power through.
Mm-hmm.
You never end up enjoying it as much.
Yeah, I definitely held myself back, and I was still like a very uncomfortable drive home.
Yeah.
But worth it.
So the drinks menu, it is pretty extensive. It takes up the whole back of the food menu, so it's kind of equal offerings on both sides, which is nice. Love that. Love to have options. Very thorough, definitely an emphasis on cocktails, but they have a fulsome array of wines, beers, and ciders. The cocktails are split into sections, which are kind of fun. They're called Before the Meal, Ice Cold, An Hour Later, and there's a Martini section. So most of them are recognizable cocktails, but some of them have a few fun twists to them. Some are just the classic thing. And they also have a few non-alcoholic options that are actually sprinkled throughout the cocktail section. And most of them are built or like suggested if you would like to add a liquor to them, they will suggest which liquor they think would go best, which I actually thought was kind of cool. I like that they thought through that because I do sometimes find myself in that situation where I'm like, oh, that mocktail sounds amazing. But, I do want to drink tonight.
I appreciate that they've added them in each section versus just having an NA section.
Yes.
I think they do have an NA section, but the mocktails are still like thematically in there in each sec. They have a purpose for being in that section, and I think that's smart.
Yeah, this is kind of what I'm talking about, where a bar thinks of a mocktail just in the same way that they would a cocktail. It's just as much considered, it's just as much intentional as the actual alcoholic drinks. and I appreciate that.
Sure.
Last thing I want to say about this menu, when they say ice cold on the menu, man, they mean it. Every drink was coming out looking frosty. The glasses were cold. The ingredients were cold. They looked really nice and cold.
I think I read that they have like a special fridge for the martinis and to keep the glasses like extra cold.
Yes, and I did get a martini that we'll talk about, and it was very, very cold.
Yeah, like as it should be. I also really love the addition of the before drinks in this menu. I think a lot more places are doing that. Like, here's what you should order before you eat. Here's what you should order while you eat. I think that is really smart and educating their customers. This is what you should be getting. So clearly I started my meal with one of those before you eat things. Another small thing that I really appreciate about this menu is they throw in certain words and even menu items that are, a very good glass of bubbles. That's what it's called. It's not, what is it? Like, it's a price range, 14 to 20 bucks, a really good glass of bubbles. Great way to start your meal. And then the Manhattan. It's not just a Manhattan. It's a very nice Manhattan.
And it was.
Yeah. So adding those little touches, I just appreciate that. I think it's them telling you, like, we're having fun and we want you to also. Because they have this before drink section, I obviously ordered from it. I ordered the Bianco Americano, which was gin and Forte Yellow and some bitters and some bubbles. And I had to look up what Forte Yellow was, and it's a fortified wine, similar style to a chartreuse, but I found it to be a lot more mellow than chartreuse. It wasn't so powerful and so overpowering. This drink was perfect for before drink. It was very bitter and slightly sweet and perfectly crisp and bubbly. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I thought it was a nice palate opener.
Yeah, I think this drink would be not for everyone because of how bitter it is. Like, you have to really like bitter things and a true aperitif. Like, if you're a Negroni lover, you'll love this. It had a white Negroni vibe, but with some fizz. Mm-hmm. That's how I would describe it.
So my first drink, which I got not from the before eating section, even though it was before eating, because I really wanted it, was the Daily Daiquiri, which is a daiquiri, and then basically they add in, quote, freshest fruit of the season. So the one that I got was the blood orange. That's the freshest fruit of the season, I guess, this week. And it was delicious. I love a daiquiri. I mean, spirit, lime, sugar. How do you go wrong with that combo? That is like a GOAT combo for drinks. And here's the thing, though. Adding the blood orange or another fruit in, it can throw that balance off. That's why that balance works. You have the sour, you have the spirit, you have the sweet. And it's this triangle that is so reliable. But when you add another fruit to it, one part of that triangle might dominate and take over. With orange juice, I'd be worried it would be a little too sweet. But they nailed it. It was not too sweet. It was still nice and tart, but it was also sweet. Had the nice blood orange flavor coming through. Lovely, lovely drink. It was exactly what I imagined it to be, and that was very nice.
Yeah, I'd be really curious to see how they go with it in the summer months when there are more fruit available. Blood orange makes sense here. We're kind of nearing the end of the winter months. Citrus is great. But once those summer melons come in or strawberry season is in full effect or you have some really good berries, I would love to see the different versions of this drink. I thought it was delicious. I don't really like daiquiris because I'm not a rum drinker like you are. But as far as daiquiris go, yeah, pretty solid.
I know you love those summer melons.
Don't we all? All right. So the martini section as a whole, there are tiny teenies and the regular kind of martini set. By the way, happy hour before 6, they're $10, which is crazy. Although I heard it's so hard to get a table that only like 16 people are getting this $10 deal. Because if I'm getting a bar seat at 5 p.m. here, I'm not giving it up. We got a tiny teeny And I like that they give you this option. You can have it with gin or vodka. You could have it clean or dirty. And it's going to be ice cold no matter what. And it comes with an olive and a lemon at the same time, which is a choice.
I'm into it. I liked this because I love olives. I don't like dirty martinis. So for me, this is like the best of both worlds where I get to eat an olive and I get to have my martini with a twist, but I don't have to have a dirty martini. I know I could just ask for an olive and a twist, but like,
Yeah.
I feel like I'd get looked at sideways.
I am fine with it. I like it, but I think some people might not want one or the other.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are not used to, they want an olive over a twist. The twist is the classic,
Yeah.
but most people I think prefer an olive in their martini.
I only started liking martinis because I learned that I could ask for a twist.
Given the shirt, you all know why. Lemon queen of this household.
Indeed. You're no slouch, though.
Okay, but let's talk about the actual martini itself, because that's really the most important thing here. This was a great martini. It was extremely ice cold, well diluted and balanced. That you don't really improve on this martini.
And I noticed on the menu they made sure to call out that their martinis are stirred, not shaken,
As they should be.
as they should be. And that is intended shade to James Bond.
Yeah.
Sorry, buddy.
So the martini, the tiny teeny is $9, and the full size one I think is $15 or $16. I love the idea of the tiny teeny because most people do not need an entire martini. One martini for most people put you down.
Yeah.
So this way you can have a martini, and it wasn't that tiny.
No?
It was still, I think some people would call that a regular size martini.
It actually surprised me. There's like kind of more in that glass than you think there is.
Yeah.
It surprised me how long it took to drink.
If you are curious about a bar's cocktail program, whether or not you're going to like the drinks they make, being able to order the tiny teeny as like a little sampler, because now I can go in there and be like, okay, I know they know what they're doing. I'm going to get a full one next time. Mm-hmm. So I kind of like this sampler. I think more bars need to offer this tiny teeny.
I agree. I love the tiny drink phenomenon that's been happening much more recently than it used to. Big fan. Big fan. I think it's so smart for everyone.
Especially if you want to try more stuff, but you want to limit, like, no one can have 2 or 3 martinis and still, be coherent. But now I can have a half martini and then a little this and a little that and
Yeah.
mix and match, which you're probably not supposed to do anyway, but drink responsibly.
So speaking of drinking responsibly, I was very responsible and I ordered for myself a very nice Manhattan. And it was very nice and it was very boozy.
Yeah, it was a proper beverage.
It was quite. This had not been in my plan, but I was looking for something that would go well with our burger and our steak. And
Solid choice.
Yeah, I mean it's such a steak drink. So this drink is 100% alcohol. Yeah, this was a really very nice drink. It was balanced really nicely. Sometimes it can be a little too sweet or a little too boozy. This one was really nicely balanced. Just delicious. It's a simple, straightforward drink, done well, done properly.
The reason why it's called a very nice Manhattan is because of the rye whiskey that they've chosen. They've chosen a very specific rye to use for this Manhattan, and love the choice. It was delicious. I only had a few sips, but I will be back. I might get my own. I was a little jealous.
Yeah.
I had a Guinness for my second drink. I wanted a Guinness with the burger, but a Guinness needs no description or review. It is a perfect beverage. So overall thoughts on the beverage program here is they know how to make a drink.
Yeah.
And they know how to make it quickly and efficiently, and price point wise, like that daiquiri was $13. My beginning drink was $14, which is crazy to say on the lower end of the spectrum when it comes to LA, where we're seeing, $18 drinks, $20 drinks. So to see a $13 daiquiri was nice. It's not a huge drink, but I think that's properly priced.
I agree. Yeah.
And they're not doing less to it. They're still, using fresh juice and using great ingredients and high quality glassware and ice. It was like the big cubes. So everything about this beverage program felt fine tuned. So moving on, the food. I love the way that they've structured this menu. They have a couple of raw seafood items on top. They have some snacks and appetizers, couple salads and veggies, and then 4 or 5 entrees, 2 pastas, 2 desserts. You don't need much more than that. It's a succinct menu. I can order anything on this menu and have a familiarity with it and be excited to get it.
I loved how many sections there were, but also in the appetizers and the salads and veggies section, which are separate, by the way, which I also like, because sometimes they'll throw the salads in the appetizers section, and I like that they're putting a spotlight on them separately. There are a lot of appetizers, and there are quite a few salads and veggies, which is great for a place where you do have these heavy items like the steak, like the burger, like the pastas, where you can have a nice balanced meal.
Yeah, for sure. You can really build a fun menu and dining experience around everything that's on offer here. If you count the 2 pastas as entrees, it's 6 entrees, 6 salads and veggies, and then roughly 6 appetizers. Everything is kind of balanced. You can go like 2 off each section. You're going to be great. Mm-hmm. So we have there are 2 crudos on the menu, and we are a little bit bored or tired of crudos, so we did not order any, and we ordered shrimp cocktail because I've just seen shrimp cocktail a lot on menus lately. It's having this resurgence, and I was just really in the mood for a shrimp cocktail. It was probably the least exciting of the 3 items on that section, but who doesn't love a shrimp cocktail?
Well, we've talked about crudos before on this podcast. You can't avoid them in this city. They are just on every menu. We've had so many of them, countless crudos, and I do still like them. But at a certain point, you gotta mix it up.
Sure.
And we both love shrimp cocktail. I love the horseradish in the cocktail sauce most of all, and this one had a lot of it.
Yeah.
Which I always appreciate. Want to clear those sinuses out well.
I think when I think of a classic bar grill, this is one of the items that I want as far as a cold appetizer goes, and is really big, meaty shrimp with just a little chervil sprig on there, which is a nice touch. There's a little bit of herbaceousness there, and the lemon, the really spicy horseradish-rich cocktail sauce. What's not to love? I think it's also a testament to how good a chef or a kitchen is how well did you cook the shrimp. Shrimp is kind of tough to nail for shrimp cocktail. It's like hard boiling an egg. There's every 30 seconds really changes the texture of that shrimp. So I thought these were cooked nicely, maybe just a touch over. I think most people would be very happy with this shrimp cocktail. It fit my craving perfectly. I was not upset about it.
Yeah, and it was cool. They were huge shrimp. Super meaty, huge shrimp.
Oh, man, for $21, they better be.
So next we had the grilled snap peas, which had spicy walnut muhammara, tangerine, pea tendrils, mint, and preserved lemon. I loved this. I thought this was an incredible vegetable dish. So you have the spicy muhammara on the bottom, then you have the pea tendrils, and then the snap peas and the tangerines on top with the preserved lemon and the mint leaves sprinkled over. So you did have to kind of get in there and mix it a little bit, or just, spoon it from the bottom. But there's plenty of sauce, which I always appreciate. You need to have a lot of sauce. And the spicy muhammara was such a good choice for this dish. It's a roasted red pepper based sauce, and then they have the walnuts in there, and it is a bit spicy, and it's a little bit rich as well. So combining that then with the vegetable portions and then the preserved lemon on top of it added some tartness. Just so delicious. And I thought the tangerines were a really interesting part of this dish. I do think the dish would work without them. And at first I was like, I don't know if it really needs the tangerine. But I kind of, A and B tested it, where I took a bite without the tangerine. It was good. And then I took a bite with the tangerine in it. Yeah, it just kicks it up a level. That brightness from the citrus, even alongside the preserved lemon, which already has a little bit of that, but preserved lemon has this kind of like, I don't know, deeper aged flavor almost. So you have two different kind of citruses in there, which is super, super cool. I just love this.
Yeah, this was a really, really great vegetable dish. I don't think anyone that orders this is gonna have a negative thing to say about this. Like, oh no, it was not for me. Like, it was so tasty, so well balanced. The muhammara was perfect. The snap peas themselves were really bright and properly cooked, not overcooked, nicely charred, super sweet, in season, mint in season. It was a great spring dish. Right in the beginning of spring, we went in March, end of March. Yeah, the tangerine is great. You could probably use blood orange here or caracara or even grapefruit and it would work. I think that all those flavors are really, really well suited for each other. So, yeah, no notes.
I do like that about this menu, where a lot of things are very familiar and safe, but then they'll always seem to have one or two things that's a little bit more out there.
Now, the other appetizer that we had is one of their signatures, and it's the loaded potato fritters. This is a labor of love. These things are definitely a pain to make. It's why it says on the menu limited quantities, because once you're out, you're out. This is not something that you can make really quickly. This is something they have to make the night before. It's basically a take on a potato pave, which is a bunch of layered, thinly sliced potatoes cooked in butter, and then they cube it up, they deep fry it. You get 4 big cubes, some cream cheese. They call it cloud, which is kind of like a whipped like cream cheese foam that has a lot of chive, and then some bacon bits on there, and an absolutely appropriate amount of shaved parm on top. As soon as it hits the table, you know one thing: this is gonna slap. You notice when you sit down and eat here how many of these are going out. You just see it wafting through the dining room. So if you don't order this, just know you are going to be jealous. Like, you have to order it.
It's incredibly decadent. It's incredibly rich. It's too rich for me to have more than one. But let me tell you, that one is an incredible experience. It's like
Yeah.
going to potato heaven.
This dish is a perfect representation of what Hermons is trying to do and who they are trying to be. It's playful and it's familiar in its flavor and its execution, but it's extremely technically difficult to do, and they've done it really, really well. Each component of this, the potato, the cream cheese cloud, the bacon bits, the chives, everything has been composed really, really professionally, and it shows.
They are masters of elevation, I would say, taking something familiar and making it fancy.
Yeah, this is perfect highbrow, lowbrow.
So next we had the 2-sheet vongole, which comes with clams, cream, parm, guanciale, and breadcrumbs. Now, if you're having trouble picturing that, it's basically like a very big plate-sized ravioli that is then topped with some other stuff. So inside you have some ricotta, and then on top you have the clams, you have the guanciale, you have the parm, and the cream, and oh my God, this thing is incredible. There is a reason that this is, I think, their top seller, their most famous item. It's the thing that if you go in and you're like, what do I have to get? They'll tell you this. And they're right. Wow, 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 wow. Just when you take a bite, it's an explosion of flavor. It's very garlicky. It was the first thing that I noticed because I love garlic, so that excited me. But then you have these toppings that just heighten the experience to a new level. You have the clams, which are fun, and they also serve it with a charred lemon that you sprinkle over, and that goes really well with the clams, but that also melds into the cream and the parm. And then you have the guanciale. It's almost like a clam chowder-esque flavor on
Yeah,
top
that's
of this
definitely the
thing.
inspiration here.
Yeah, and then you have the breadcrumbs, which brings in the nice crunchy texture, which goes nicely with how tender the pasta and the ricotta is. Wow.
So when I saw this on Instagram, there's a video of them making this in the back, and they show like the process, and it's super kind of peppery ricotta filling. The pasta itself, really, really nice egg yolk dough. And then the clams and the bacon and the cream and the parm and the breadcrumbs. It all is on paper exciting. Like I read this, I was like, oh yeah, I want that. I want that. And then it comes to the table and it looks so impressive and yummy, and it gets bubbly on top because they bake it and then they put all these clams on it. And man, what's not to love? This is a great dish. I could eat a whole one of these myself easily. I probably shouldn't. We ate an appropriate amount of it.
Oh man, this was the one where I really had to hold myself back
Yeah.
to keep from eating too much because I knew it was going to fill me up, but boy, did I want it.
Yeah, I think more restaurants need to do this two sheet lasagna thing. It's so great of an idea. I've seen it done in a number of ways with a number of toppings, and I'm here for it. Bring me more.
It also seems like, and let me know if I'm wrong in thinking this, not the most complicated pasta dish.
No, what's nice about a dish like this is you can pre-prep it. So for the kitchen, execution wise, this is really a lot of prep, and the actual pickup time is really short. You're not boiling pasta to order or anything like that. You can build these sheets in advance, and then when an order comes in, you pop it in, you get your sauce, and it's kind of quick and easy.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
not only is it easy during service where it comes out quickly, but it tastes delicious. That helps.
Definitely helps.
Yeah, I love the heavy amount of pepper they put in the filling here. I thought it really played well with the clams and the cream, and you don't even really notice it at first, but it really helps. All right, so the next thing that we had was the Ode to Chez Cheeseburger, which has an onion soubise, bordelaise onions, Dijon mustard, sesame milk bun. You can add fries if you want, but it just comes with the burger. Before we get into the actual burger, the story of the name, Ode to Chez, is because this burger was going to be on the menu of another restaurant that Last Word was planning that the Palisades fire took from them. Super sad story, but a piece of that is being revived here. So this is the ode to that restaurant. And one of their signature dishes. This burger was delicious. We have been craving a burger like this, something that is like a big, meaty tavern burger. Super good. I much prefer this to smash burgers. I do love a smash burger every once in a while, but in a restaurant setting, this is the type of burger that I want.
Well, I was watching the videos on their Instagram, and the chef himself says smash burgers are over. And let me just put down here, I agree. They should be over. I'm over it. I'm done. I want a burger like this.
So this burger, it comes medium rare as a standard. I'm sure you can ask for it well done, but you shouldn't. It was a really, really good meat patty. It was really, really good beef flavor. The grind that they're doing is really nice and tender, and overall, absolutely well-cooked burger. I loved the bordelaise onions on this. I thought that that was going to be a little bit overpowering, and it wasn't. It was a really good way to cut some of the richness from the soubise fondue. What is soubise? Soubise is basically onions that are cooked down really slowly in butter. So they've done that. They've combined it with some cheese and made this kind of cheese sauce versus melting actual cheese on the burger. And then a nice amount of sharp Dijon mustard really, really cut the richness.
Yeah, I didn't think that I was going to like the Dijon on this. I am a big ketchup person. I love ketchup. I put a lot of ketchup normally on my burgers.
Yeah.
And I thought I couldn't imagine mustard taking over for that, but it did. It was perfect. It kind of brought a little bit of that like vinegary tartness
Yeah, you
without
need it.
being overpowering. And yes, you do really need it, especially with that very rich sous vide, which was absolutely delicious, but obviously quite rich. So the balance of the Dijon just hit perfectly.
Yeah, I think if you put ketchup on this burger, it would not be as good.
No,
You
no, it
need the
wouldn't.
mustard. You
Yeah.
need the sharpness. You need the sharpness of Dijon mustard here. A great addition. And then let me talk about this bun for a second. This was a perfect burger bun.
Well, I love a milk bread of any type.
I thought it was such a great bun. It was light and airy and kind of squishy, like everything a burger bun needs to be. I think a lot of times when you're getting into some of these like brioche buns and potato buns, they feel dense. A lot of house-made buns are too dense. This was not that. This was exactly what it needed to be. And I love a sesame seed bun also. Huge fan. Great burger. This is also on their happy hour menu. It's $18 for happy hour, $24 not happy hour. It is an expensive burger, that is for sure, but I think it's worth the price of admission.
Heck yeah. Heck yeah. Going into this meal, I had had a few disappointing burgers over the previous couple weeks, and this healed me. So for our last savory dish, we had the steak frites, which is hanger steak, and it comes with au poivre and also some horseradish mayo. I liked this. I thought the au poivre sauce was really nice. It had a great texture to it. It was properly seasoned, properly peppery, and the fries were good. They're good standard fries, as you would kind of imagine at a bar restaurant like this. I liked the horseradish mayo on my steak.
Interesting.
Well, here's the thing. Two sauces, always better than one, as I've said before. I wish that there had been something alternative for the fries.
Oh, like a ketchup or a mayo? Well, it
Yeah.
was a mayo, but it was a horseradish mayo.
Yeah, well, it was very horseradishy, which I do like, but traditionally, isn't that more of a for the steak thing?
No, I don't. Well, yeah, I guess, but that's more for like a prime rib or like a steak sandwich.
Yeah.
But on the menu, there's a plate of fries on the menu, and that also comes with horseradish mayo. So
Oh,
this is intentionally being served with their French fries. This got to be like the chef likes this, but
yeah.
I'm not a fan. I don't want
Yeah.
the. I didn't use the horseradish mayo at all.
Oh,
It wasn't
I
for me.
did.
I
It
had
was
one
there.
bite. Au poivre. I love au poivre. I don't need anything else on a steak if I have au poivre.
Yeah. So the last thing I'm going to say about this dish, it was, I guess, my least favorite dish, which is like not a huge knock because everything was so incredible here. This was just fine. And the reason I say that was I found the meat to be a little bit chewy. I do like hanger steak, so I was expecting to like this. But yeah, the meat was not, the cook was right. It looked right. It definitely looked medium rare, which is what it was meant to be. But when I was cutting off pieces for myself, I don't know, they're just a bit chewy.
Hanger steak is not a tough cut, but it needs to be sliced properly in order to have it be tender. And they don't slice the steak for us in this dish, and I implore them to. I like the idea of being served a steak that I have to slice myself, but if it's like a filet or a New York strip or a ribeye, that's fine, and you can do that. But with hanger, it's similar to like a skirt steak. If you slice it with the grain, against the grain, the way that you slice it really changes the overall eating experience. So I think the kitchen, while it is more work, you should probably be slicing the steak for the guests just so that they don't have that experience. I read in some of the other reviews online that other people shared your opinion on the toughness of the meat. I don't think that's really the meat's fault. I think it's because people don't know how to cut it.
Well, even so, like with the knife we were given, I think it would be difficult to cut it quite as thinly
Yeah, I
as
think
is needed.
I agree. I just think that it would solve all the problems if the professionals cut it for you
Yeah.
and you have nice slices of steak. The sauce was perfect on this. I really love the au poivre. I do prefer my peppercorns on the au poivre to be more chopped up. These were like big green peppercorns, like whole. So if you get a few of those in your mouth at once, it can be a little bit overpowering, but that's classic.
Yes.
So they are doing things the classic way. The sauce was proper. The fries I thought were great. Kind of, I wouldn't say they're the best fries in town. I would not say they're the worst. They were crispy and they were exactly what you need. So I don't think you're going to be upset with any of that. I will say I agree with you that this was my least favorite thing that we had. Not because I thought it was bad, but because everything else was better.
Yeah, everything else was stellar.
Yeah.
So it's like hard to.
But if you're coming in and you just want a really good steak and some good fries and a solid drink, I think it's a solid option.
Just cut it as thinly as you can.
I think they'll find that they might change the cut over time. It's still a really young restaurant. If they keep getting this note that it was a little chewy, then they might consider changing it. Although I love hanger steak. It's one of my favorite cuts. It's definitely a chef's cut. It's not a lot of people know a hanger steak, but this is, as far as French bistros and steak au poivre goes, this is a very popular choice for that cut. So I think they're just paying homage. All right, so that wraps up the savory items that we had. We did order one of the two desserts. They have a skillet cookie and a baked Alaska, a lemon baked Alaska, which I saw a few going out in the dining room, and they did look good, but
Yeah.
it's hard to resist a skillet cookie.
Yeah. Also, shout out to our server who reminded us twice to save room for dessert.
She knew. She knew what she was doing.
I love her. Thank
Yeah.
you. Don't worry.
We appreciate you.
We were never going to skip it. Never.
No. I mean, you see them going out in the dining room, you're like, oh, I want that.
Yeah.
Who doesn't want a skillet cookie? Where can you get a skillet cookie outside of like Applebee's? This is a perfect dessert item to have on this menu. I can't think of I'm trying to think of what other desserts I might see on this menu making sense.
Chocolate sundae.
Yeah, I totally.
Or brownie sundae.
Brownie sundae, which I think is the cousin
Yeah.
or whatever.
Right.
It's in the same family as the
hot-
Pizookie.
Right. The hot sweet thing with the ice cream on top.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So what did you think of this thing? Though? Let's talk about the actual cookie itself, the dish.
Well, do you want to describe what it was?
Everyone knows what a Pizookie is.
Yeah, but it had ice cream on top.
That's what a Pizookie is.
Oh, it has to have ice
Oh,
cream?
100%.
Huh. I thought it just like the fact of it being cooked in a skillet
No.
made it.
This is
Okay. This particular skillet cookie, it was delicious. I loved it. It was very, very sweet. It's gonna be very sweet. It should be very sweet. And that's why you have the vanilla ice cream on top to cut some of that sweetness, even though that is also sweet. But, the vanilla balances out the chocolate in its own way. You're right. The cookie was very fudgy. Fudgy is definitely the best word for it. So it really melded well when you put your spoon in and you got a spoonful of ice cream and cookie. It just all kind of made a little mix of deliciousness that you put into your mouth.
I have no real notes about this. You know exactly what you're getting when you order this. I thought it was the perfect portion size too. If you want something sweet, this is what you want. This is what you need.
This is a great dessert if you're on your period.
This is a great dessert if you're on a date. This is a panty dropper dessert. So that was it for what we ate at Hermon's. Overall thoughts on the food program here?
The food program blew me out of the water. I was really worried that a lot of this had been overhyped and I was going to be disappointed, and I was not. Even anything that we had that was not A+++ was still an A. And that's pretty freaking good. Drinks, also A+.
Yeah, I was overall impressed with the food program here. Not everything was 100% perfect. There's, a couple of tweaks they can make. This is a very young restaurant. For them to put out food of this quality this early on and show consistency, I think is going to be the test. How consistent can they be over time? When we go back, will we have the same experience we did?
It's incredible. They've only been open 4 months.
Mm-hmm.
And if the food is this good, 4 months, only 4 months in, the
Right,
possibilities are endless.
they can only improve. So now that we've talked about the food, let's talk about the actual restaurant itself. This restaurant is in this converted church hall, very art deco, lots of warm light, wood tones, just a really, really well designed space. The way that they've designed this restaurant, I think, is really a testament to Last Word knowing what they're doing. They know how to dress a place up.
They really do. If you go back to see our Razaruma episode, we talked at length about the really cool details that they had throughout the place. And Hermon's was no different. While we were waiting for our table, it was kind of a fun game to point out to each other all the fun little details that they had throughout the restaurant. Every single lighting fixture was a little bit different and unique. And by the way, all the seats that aren't bar seats are booths.
Yeah,
Which
everything
is
looks so comfortable.
which is so comfy, so neighborhood spot, which even on their website, like that's what they call themselves, like your neighborhood spot. Yeah, they killed it. I thought it was really cool. Also, they have vases and pieces scattered around, which have been made for them specially by a local ceramicist.
Oh, that's cool. I didn't know
Yeah.
that. Very, very nice.
Yeah.
I love the tile that's on like the bar
Yeah.
itself, like what the bar is made out of. The bar seats were probably some of the most comfortable bar stools that I have sat in a restaurant ever. The entire time, I was like so comfortable. Really, really, really
Yeah.
happy. Like sitting at the bar, this is a huge U-shaped bar. It's the center of the restaurant. You walk in and you just see this massive bar. And then outskirt seating. And sitting at that bar was some of the most comfortable bar seats. The ambiance here, the feel of the restaurant, the way you feel when you walk in, you're just like, oh yeah, this place is awesome. This place is cool. Like, I'm excited to be here.
I thought it was very nostalgic. The wood felt nostalgic, but also they have these like linen curtains that are in the front windows and then also on kind of the dividers between the booths. And just the booths plus the linen plus like all these accents made me feel a little bit like places looked when I was a kid, like in the 90s almost.
And they did a good job of recreating that, but making it feel elegant.
Yes, yes, it feels elegant. It feels a bit upscale. So moving on, let's talk about the service. I felt very well taken care of, especially with our server. She was efficient. She was juggling a lot of stuff, but she felt friendly. She felt confident. She gave us good recommendations and direction when we asked for it. I didn't feel like my drink was ever empty for too long.
I thought the service itself was really, really great. Everybody was really pro. I love the rapport that we had with our bartender server. All the suggestions that she made were really solid, and my overall experience and comfort level the entire time I was there was top notch. The one note I do have about their service is the wait time to get a table. This is something that's been mentioned in other reviews, that you have to wait a long time even if you have a reservation. Tables run long here. We had to wait like 20 minutes. This is the nature of a really, really busy restaurant that's still figuring it out. We've often said you can walk in and try to get a table. That's not going to be the case here. Can't just stroll in. You might have to wait a little bit for your table, order some drinks, be
Yes.
prepared for that. I don't know how they fix that. They have limited amount of seats. They have a lot of walk-ins, people in the neighborhood that want to get in, and they're not kicking people out and giving them 90 minutes to eat their meal. They're letting people take their time. I'm fine with that.
Yeah,
I'm willing to wait.
as we've mentioned before on this podcast, we are pro no time limit.
Absolutely. With that being said, you might have to wait a little bit longer. I think a lot of people would be unhappy with that. It is what it is. I am not going to knock this restaurant for being really, really busy. And once I get my table, I am going to take my time as well.
Hell yeah.
So I would much rather wait extra for my table and not have a time limit than the other way around.
Absolutely. I mean, to me, this is also something that tells you neighborhood restaurant, like we are here for the community, is we're not going to rush you at the beginning or out of your table at the end. You know, go at your pace. We're here for you. We're here to serve you. We're here to make your experience as good as it can be when you're sitting at your table. And
Yep.
that's the most important time. That's the time where I'm like, I want my experience to be frictionless. I want my experience to feel good and natural.
Yeah. I would say one suggestion I can give them to quell this a little bit, because once you've waited 20 or 30 minutes for your table, you're already starting off on a bad foot, especially with a first impression if you've never been there. Have a little welcome drink, a little welcome bite, some sort of free something to make them feel like, okay, like at least I got something. Before we get into our verdict, a little bit about how we do our rating system. We rate restaurants on a scale of 1 to 4 taste buds. 1 taste bud is skip it. 2 taste buds if you're in the neighborhood. 3 taste buds is worth a trek. And 4 taste buds, you gotta go. So what are we giving Hermons?
We are giving Hermons 4 taste buds.
Woo! Wow, not too many of those in our books.
Yeah, it's been a while now.
It's been a while. It's been a while.
So why 4 taste buds? Outstanding drinks. Excellent food. We had great service, and the feeling of just being in there is nice. It is comfortable. It's welcoming. Hitting on every metric that we have here at Aftertaste when we think about what are things that make restaurants great, they hit it out of the park on all of them.
This is the 3rd restaurant that we've given 4 taste buds, our top score. You gotta go. Because the moment I left this restaurant, I was texting people and being like, hey, if you haven't been here yet, you got to go. I was excited. It got me really excited.
I think it's also when a restaurant or bar has a clear vision for themselves, and then do they achieve that? And I see both of those things, and the answer is yes for this restaurant. They have a clear vision. They want to be a neighborhood spot with a great bar, and they kill it. They achieve that 100%. That's what they are.
A few of the places that we have reviewed recently that have only been open for 6 months or 12 months, they're still figuring that out. And that's why they didn't get 4s. Because some of the food and drinks that we've had at other places we've been has been on the same level as Hermon's. We're not saying this is, the best food in the world or anything like that. It was very, very good. But the way they executed it, the approach that they've taken, the way the menus are structured, the way the place has been designed, all of these things have been so deliberate and thought through in such a smart way. They can only go up from here. So for a place that's only been open for 4 months and we're already saying you gotta go,
Yeah.
it's big. That's high praise.
Yes, it is.
It's high praise. So yeah, I mean, what else is there to say? You got anything else?
I already know what I'm going to order next time we go. All right, everyone. That's all for this week's episode of Aftertaste LA. If you're interested in seeing more reviews like this one, our other 4 Taste Bud reviews are episodes on River and Dunsmore. Give those a listen. That's all for this week. See you in 2 weeks.
Peace.